right, so for today, I'm going to show you how to start your Google Drawing to outline your logos. I'm going to click on Google Drawing. I just searched Google Drawing. When I do that, notice that it's an untitled drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, once I have the title figured out, the next step is going to be to make sure that my actual canvas is the right size. So if you remember, we're very specifically trying to make it a square that is 7 by 7 or a rectangle that is 7 by 5 or 5 by 7. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to page setup. So I went to file, page setup, and I want to come all the way down to custom. Now notice that this higher number is 10, which is going across. So that's where I want my 7. And then I want to put the 5 here. So after I get my canvas to be the accurate size, I have my title taken care of. The next thing I'm going to do is drag in the drawing that I already did. So you guys already did the hard work to be able to draw your image. So now I'm just going to insert it. Now you have to have it saved to your drive or saved to your computer, which I already do. So insert image, upload from computer. Mine is here. All right, now I only want to focus on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this down. Make sure you don't accidentally squish it. If you do that, you just want to hit that undo button. And I'm going to bring it in as tight to the image as I can. Now that I have it cropped, I'm going to click the crop button. I'm going to drag it up to the top. Now, you never want to drag from the side or the top because it will squish it like we just showed you. So again, I'm going to undo and I'm going to make sure to always pull from my corner. All right, now that I have it, notice I just put it in the middle so that it was centered. Now my next step is going to be to use the line tool. Now notice that there's many lines that you can use. The first one I'm going to use is called the Polyline tool. I'm going to start in one place. Now the Polyline, technically, if you look, just goes from one point to the next. And then when you close it, it creates the shape. Now these are all straight lines. If I want to, I'm just going to delete that for a sec. If I want to create something that looks like it has a curve, I'm going to make smaller movements that go around. And you'll notice, I'm just going to go around here. You can see this is more round because I did all of those small movements. The smaller the space that you go forward, the curvier or the smoother that curve will be. All right, so I'm going to start down here and I'm just going to go real slow and go step by step. Notice that it automatically filled. The reason it did that is because if you look up here in my fill color, there is a fill color there. Now, right now, especially because I need to trace something that's in that space, I'm going to make this transparent for now. Now I'm going to start to make my lettering. If the letters are straight lined, it's really easy. You just go from corner to corner. Now you'll notice that my drawing is still kind of in the rough stages. So if I'm slightly off from my drawing, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to skip the O for now. So as you can see, I'm just really easily going around and tracing what I had in my original design. Well, I don't really like how that looks. So I'm going to actually do this in parts. So I'm going to go ahead and do this part. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that part. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that part. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my pointer, my selection tool. I'm going to select all three of these at the same time. So while hitting the Shift key, I'm going to select this one and this one. And I'm going to go up to Arrange and Group. Now they're all together. I'm also going to go ahead and take out the outline. So I'm going to make the outline transparent, and that way you see one complete letter in the end. And while I'm at it, go back to my Polyline tool, and I'm going to continue. Now all of these letters have been straight, so it's been pretty easy. Now we have two letters that have curves. So same thing I had to do before. I'm going to go ahead and just click more regularly to try to get more of that curved line until I get here. And then again, it gets easy. I'm missing that hole right now. I'm going to leave that for now. All right, there we go. Now the O, I want to leave that space in the middle. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to be a little tricky, and I'm going to use the Shape Circle tool. Now remember, if I want an actual circle, I want to hit Shift so that it stays that equal circle shape. Same thing with the square. If I want to make an oval though, I can just select the Circle tool and create the kind of oval that I want. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to get my pointer tool so that I can move it around. And instead, right now I don't have a hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the actual shape transparent, and I'm going to make the outline the same color as everything else. But watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the outline thicker. I actually want to make it a little bit thicker, I think maybe the biggest. And then I'm going to make it smaller. So now I have my O the way that I want it. Now notice that some of them have that outline, so I'm going to go ahead and select those, and I'm going to select them all at one time so I can just do it in one motion. So all of my letters that have that black outline, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say transparent outline, and now none of them have the outline. So now I'm going to change that to white for right now. So all of those, which means I need to also add my O and my A. And again, I'm going to make that a white fill. Now, here's where I need to change it because the O is the one that's different. So here, I'm going to make this transparent, but I'm going to make the line white. So now all of my lettering is white. So for the next part, I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use the Curve Line tool. Because most of the areas of this are curved, it just makes more sense and will give me more flexibility. So you'll notice as I go around, it's creating a pretty gentle curve as I go. So as you can see, I'm using the tool all the way around the hair and then coming back and meeting with my original line. So it filled again because that was the fill color that is like kind of like your regular set one. So I'm going to choose to fill that with black so that that's done. Now at this point I don't really need my original picture. So I'm going to go to my select tool. I'm going to select the actual photograph and I'm going to delete that. So now we can see everything else. I'm going to go ahead now and start to play with the color for this. So now that this is selected, I'm going to go ahead and try to play with the color. So I'm going to go with a gradient. You could just pick any color here, and if you do a custom, you can kind of find exactly where you want. This is going to be your regular hue. As you go down this way, you're getting darker. As you go to the shades, as you go over here, you're going to the tints with adding white and getting a lighter value. And if you go in the middle, this is more of that muted tone where you have white and black and your color. So I'm actually going to cancel this and I'm going to go to a gradient. So with the gradient, the ones that are here are just the regular tones. I want to go to custom because I want to have more control over what I'm doing. So first, you hear there's only 2 points. So it goes from one color to the next. Right now, it's just 2 grays. If I want to, I'm going to come here. I'm going to change the color. So let's say I want to go yellow. And then here, I'm going to go orange. So right now I just have a pretty smooth gradation. Now I can change the angle. So I can make it go across, flat, up and down. And then it can change and do the opposite of each of those. All right. So I'm going to stick with, I think this is the angle that I want. I'm going to go and look, if you look here, you can do add. So I can add another point. I'm going to add a bunch so we just have a transition that's going to create some more movement in the image. So this is yellow. I'm going to go orange for this one. And then here I'm going to go yellow. And here I'm going to go orange. And here I'm going to go yellow. And here I'm going to go orange. You can kind of see that change. And if I wanted to, I could change these to where I have a bigger area of one. It's totally up to me. All right, so once I get it, I can go okay. And I don't like this black line around it, so I'm actually gonna get rid of that. And I'm gonna give it orange. So it'll give it something, but it's not going to end it. Now I like this, but I want to move it in so that it actually looks like she's like breathing fire and saying, "Vote that John." And I noticed here that this yellow is a little distracting with the white. So I'm actually going to come back in and play with that gradient. And that just gave me a little bit more vibrance there. with the contrast. So this is the kind of thing that you can play with back and forth. So here I have a little bit brighter, but it still has that contrast. I'm also going to play with the idea of using something out here. So I'm going to look at the shapes that I have. And if I want to move it to the back, I'm going to go arrange and order and send to the back. So this, I'm going to play with color. And I'm going to take away the outline. And I think I'm actually going to do this, and I'm going to multiply this. And then I can rotate this one because I want a little bit of contrast on the other end too. And again, arrange, order, send to back. And here we go. So now I have everything set up, and the last step that I want to take is to file, download, and I want to pick JPEG. And now I should have it right in my files. All right, good luck. If you have any questions, you can always go back and watch the video again from different points. But I think you guys can come up with some pretty cool things.